Hello, and welcome to the podcast, The Guru. My name is Howard Falco, and I'm an author on self-empowerment and a mindfulness and mental strength coach to college and professional athletes and those who are looking for next-level performance and results. The Guru is a podcast offering you the deepest and most powerful wisdom on life and how this wisdom works for you from the inside out. That is, it offers how your mindset has a direct impact on your results. Becoming aware of this process is everything. This podcast is no coincidence. It's been presented to you by you and for you because the truth is, the real guru of your life is always you. Let's see what you brought to yourself today. Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of The Guru. My name is Howard Falco, and I am honored and humbled to be the host of this podcast as we take a journey to self-understanding and self-awareness that leads to self-mastery. I have one quote that I usually open with every time that I teach or speak anywhere, and the quote is simply this: if you knew how powerful you really are, you would never stop smiling. That is the whole point of this podcast, to offer you the insight, understanding, and awareness that empowers you in a way that you never knew before, that you never understood at this deep of a level, that will help you get through any situation you encounter, help you get over anything that you're looking to overcome, and help you create and achieve what your goals, dreams, and desires are. Again, my name is Howard Falco, and I'm an author of 2 books on self-awareness and self-understanding. The first one being I Am, The Power of Discovering Who You Really Are. And the second one is Time in a Bottle, Mastering the Experience of Life, both published by Penguin Random House. And both are deep dives into the nature of how our identity drives our entire existence. And so the whole point of these podcasts is going to offer you insight and information on how to shape your understanding, your belief, and your truth to what helps you experience everything that you're looking to achieve for yourself. So it's going to be a fun experience to go through all this material, the material in 30 plus chapters, and all the experience working with thousands of people that I've worked with over the years in every life situation you can imagine, even things that you probably can't imagine that people have gone through and overcome. I've also worked with athletes at the highest level in the world in helping them get their minds right so that they can achieve the peak performance and the level of talent that they knew was within them, to allow it to come forward in the most important moments of their life. I'll be sharing that. I'll be doing interviews with high achievers, and I'll be taking questions from you through social media on things that you want to know about the nature of life and existence. But the whole point is really to consistently deliver information that helps empower you to be the best version you can possibly be. One of the most incredible things that I realized when I went through my experience of awakening or revelation, or whatever you want to call what the experience that I had was some 17 years ago, when life opened up this incredible Pandora's box of wisdom, is that life is intimately connected to each one of us. It is trying in every moment to give you as much awareness as you can take to help you to create, to get to where you want to go. And the cool thing is it'll never stop. It will continue to offer you insight and information in direct relation to how badly you want it, to help you to create what you want, because the universe is about the creation of infinite possibility. And since you are a part of this universe, you are supported in that effort of expressing your own personal possibility, no matter what that is. And that could be anything from achieving the biggest thing in the world that you want to achieve to someone who just wants to experience a daily walk of peace. It does not matter. The universe is impartial and unfavoring when it comes to delivering awareness, insight, and information. And that is what is so exciting, is that every single day that you wake up, it's like, when I discovered this, it was like this big treasure hunt. Like, what is life going to bring me today? What am I going to experience today that's going to help empower me in an even bigger way to achieve the dreams that I want, or to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And ever since that moment, I've gone into each day with the sense of wonder and childlike awe as to how it's going to come together. Some days, not much happens. And other days, it floods my existence from every single corner when I least expected it to. That's the cool thing. So what I'm hoping is that you'll take from this podcast is some insight and awareness that helps put you in an even more and more mindful state each day. What I call true mindfulness, which is the understanding of who you are, what you're capable of, and how much life is connected to what you intend to create every day for yourself. That's the exciting part, is that whatever you set your mind to, life is actually going to immediately start to flood your awareness with the insight and understanding that helps get you there. So the topic for this very first podcast is waking up to your true power. Understanding how much is in you that you may never have felt before, for a host of different reasons that we'll get into over time. But it doesn't matter. You know why? Because you're here right now and you're listening to these words. So you found your way to one source of information that's going to flood your awareness every time a podcast comes out with some cool insight. But there are a host of different ways, shapes, and forms that you can get it every day. This is just a little more of the, let's call it the fire hose version, where it's going to come to you a little more upfront, a little more straightforward. You know, when this happened to me, I couldn't believe the simplicity of it. I couldn't believe that it really all comes down to each one of us and how strongly we can get ourselves to believe in what's possible for us and get past all that negative conditioning that each of us have to some degree. And it's either, whether it's come from genetics or whether it's come from our nurturing, our personal experiences. In some way, it has limited us on a subconscious level and sometimes on a conscious level. But the quicker you can get through those limits, the quicker you can get to experience who and what you truly want to be and experience for your life. So I don't care if you're 15 and listening to this, or 80, or anywhere in between. At any moment, it can all change. So that's what this podcast is going to be about, and I am really, really thrilled that you're here. A tiny little bit of background on myself. As I said, I'm the author of 2 books, I Am and Time in a Bottle. I've spoken and taught thousands of people, both in group settings and individual one-on-ones, on how to break through and achieve next level performance. I've worked with top athletes in the world in almost every sport in the same subject of how to get through to next level results and step into that new version of who you want to be. The why that I'm doing this, the reason for this, is that I truly believe this is a missing piece of the puzzle right now in the world. There are so many people that suffer every day from a host of different reasons psychologically. And I really believe that self-awareness is a huge answer and something that should be taught all around the world. It's certainly been the key for me. And if you look through history and you look through any of the philosophers, the great philosophers, if you look through the core teachers of any of the great religions, it comes down to the same thing. Understanding what you're capable of and having faith in the process of creation and how much life is connected to each one of us. Also, we've unfortunately in this world, we're dealing with record numbers of people who have problems with anxiety, depression, addiction, bullying, and suicide. Numbers have been way up the last 10 to 15 years, not only in the United States, but all around the globe. And then, of course, we're dealing with the current pandemic of COVID-19, which has changed our behavior considerably as we deal with this virus until it sort of moves its way through and and settles down, or the medical community can help with some therapies and modalities to help deal with this. So I believe that during a time like this, when we have numbers this high and we're dealing with this pandemic, it was the right time to come out and to do a podcast offering this insight and this information. And again, if you go back through history to the deepest of the teachings, like for example, the Greek philosophers, what did they say was the key? The key was to know thyself. Knowing yourself gives you a window into every other person's soul, so you understand exactly how they are thinking and feeling. It gives you that critical intuition or empathy, which allows you to be so much more mindful and powerful as you move through life. And what that allows you to do is connect with people in a much deeper way. So when you know yourself, you truly know the world. And that's, again, the journey that we're going to take. So really coming to understand or waking up to your true power is a process of self-reflection and understanding, knowing how to get through the limits in your mind that have prevented you from getting where you want to go, and then having the faith to step into the unknown, no matter how uncomfortable it is. People who live peaceful, happy, harmonious, and fulfilling lives go with the flow in life. They're unafraid of the word change, which can often feel like a 4-letter word. They know that it's an integral part of life, and they fill the gap when they're faced with change or the unknown with a simple, single word, which is faith. Coming to understand your power is as much about knowing yourself as it is about having faith in a universe that brought you into existence and brought you to this very moment. That's pretty powerful when you realize that. It's like, okay, how can I not trust life that birthed me in, that's gotten me through everything else that I've gotten through and overcome in my life to this point, and is now, at least for this moment, and for this next half hour or 45 minutes or however long the podcast goes, bringing me a little bit more of an up close and personal insight into what may help me achieve what I want to achieve along this journey. And again, this isn't about just this podcast. There's millions and millions of sources of information out there that provide great insight as to how life changes. But for this moment, this is a big message, I believe, from life to you as to how valuable you are, how important you are, to how much you truly matter. There's a quote in I Am that I have that says, "Your existence as matter is the self-evident truth that you matter." Because just by being here, your life has meaning. And hopefully from this point, the question is not any longer, do I matter? But rather, how am I going to choose to matter from this point forward? And the key word here being choose. You have the power of choice. Whether you've known it or not up to this point is irrelevant. I am telling you that you have the power of choice to decide who you want to be. Like a new seed that is birthed or planted in the earth and germinates, the minute that you take on a new understanding of who you can be, you're germinating a new intention. And immediately, life is going to fill and feed that intention with the right conditions to help nurture it into existence. Is there a journey that it's going to take to get to that, to the point you want it to get to? Yes. Are you going to have to be acutely aware of what that process is and how to let go of time in the process so that you can just absorb yourself into the moment of creating it? Yes. Is there going to be a learning curve on this? Yes. Especially in this short-term world, especially in this social media world where everything's packaged all neatly and perfect with the end result for so many people, so many celebrities or so many athletes. You just see the final packaged end product, but you don't see the work and the journey that went into it from day one. And take it from me, getting an unbelievable look behind the scenes at so many of these incredible athletes and how much time and energy and effort, or entertainers, how much time, energy, and effort has gone into creating their craft. But the cool thing is, again, it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. You can start right now to put these conditions together for yourself. That is the power that you hold. And with a greater understanding of how life connects with you every single moment, you're unstoppable. But you've got to have faith, and your faith will be self-evident in your patience. Michelangelo has a quote, which is one of my all-time favorites. And he said, "Genius is eternal patience." That's because what goes behind that patience is an incredible sense of knowing and faith in who you are. So the next obvious question is, okay, that's great, but how do you just have that kind of faith when your life has gone this way or that way, or you've had all these ups and downs, or all this pain and suffering? How do you have faith? The answer to that is, you are here right now in this moment. You've obviously gotten through it because you're here now, at least for this moment, listening to this podcast. So that means so far you've overcome everything. Now the key is to figure out how to put the conditions together so that your life becomes much less troublesome and full of challenge and full of strife, and much more full of the joy, the peace, and the fulfillment that you want. But it has to start with the notion or the idea that you can get to this place. And I am here to tell you right now, having seen people get through some of the most incredible and hard to watch tragedies you could ever imagine, and having gotten through them and gone on and created something completely different for themselves and beautiful, that you're capable of doing it as well. There isn't anything you can't overcome when you have a greater understanding of yourself and a greater understanding of life. And that's what I'm hoping to help you with over these coming podcasts. And again, we'll use examples from every area imaginable to help feed that sense of understanding, wisdom, and empowerment for you. So the key is, you've got this okay, so it's self-awareness that gets me there. It's faith that'll get me to everything that I want. So how do I implement? How do I start on this journey of getting there? And the cool thing is, you already have. You already have followed your intuition or your intention or your curiosity, just to this very moment. So you're already in the process. Now it's about the contemplation, the willingness to change the way that you think in certain ways. And the only way you can change the way you think is you have to be aware of how you've thought in the past that has produced some of your past experiences. And again, I want to be clear on this, that no one has affected negatively the journey of another soul. Every soul's journey is their own. But it's the way that you experienced and responded to it that you may want to look at changing for the future so that you can create a different experience for yourself. So it takes you becoming acutely aware of what thoughts and feelings have been running your mind, which have been running your feelings, which have been running your actions. And the minute that you start to change that process, you start to change the ultimate reality that comes together for you. Again, I use the seed example a lot in nature because it's such a powerful example. When you create a different idea in your mind, you're immediately going to be faced with new thoughts and actions that are different and uncomfortable, and you won't quite know where they lead yet. Just like the seed, when it germinates and it starts to grow, it's in the darkness. It hasn't gotten to the light yet. It's trying to find its way to the light, but it knows what it wants to become, and it's willing to take that journey to squirm around through the dirt until it cracks through into the light. And then when it hits the light and starts to grow, it's going to get hit by the elements. So you're going to face some challenges along the way as you change into who you want to be, or you become more of that version of yourself. But armed with a greater understanding of what creates really strong mental strength and empowerment, and armed with a greater understanding of how life is always supporting you on the journey, it can give you a lot of grit and determination to get through anything that you're faced with in life. So the how has already been started. You've listened to this first podcast on waking up to your true power. You're contemplating some of these thoughts. Now it's about setting the new intention. So what is your intention in this moment? Intention is the mother of all creation. But you'll only set the intention for yourself that you believe is possible for yourself. You won't even dream about things that will become a reality for you unless you see yourself as worthy of having it. The only way that you'll dream of it when you don't feel worthy of it is as a fantasy. But for the dream to become real, to dream it as real, you have to have the sense of worthiness in you that you can and will achieve it. And again, I am going to repeat this over and over. The fact that you're here in existence means you're worthy. The universe holds no judgment. It is just here to provide so that you can create. And the minute that you understand this is the minute that you can shed the old version of yourself, or at least the negative feelings associated with it. You'll always have the memory of who you were, but you don't have to live the same feelings and the same dramas and the same pain and suffering. You can leave that behind and open up to a completely new life of possibility. So part of waking up to your power is simply understanding that aspect of it, that you have the choice to do it. And then being as curious as you can possibly be and as ready as you can possibly be to take on the information that floods your awareness once you set the new intention, because it will. And it will push you. It will push you into an uncomfortable place where you have to be and act different in order to create something new. And people in your life, they may be used to the old version of you. So they may not be ready for the new version of who you want to be. That can't stop you. People may try to talk negatively to you or bring you down or put you back into the old version. That can't affect you. You may face your own challenges and question whether or not it's worth it to go through this. That can't affect you. You have to push on no matter what. This journey takes a very, very strong will. But once you break through, the smile that hits your face and the understanding that you have finally figured life out and you get it and you understand how to flow, like Bruce Lee said years ago, be like water, be formless, flow where the river takes you. The more you understand that, the more beautiful and graceful and peaceful your life goes. So this is going to be an extremely exciting journey to be on as it relates anyways to this podcast and everything you'll get from it each time you tune in. So again, I'm honored that you're here and I'm honored to be sharing this information with you. When this first happened to me, all I wanted to do was run around the entire world, put my hands on the shoulders of every single person and say, I got to tell you what I just discovered about how you can shed this suffering. But that's not how it works. You have to be ready for this information. You have to be in a place where you're actually asking questions and you're curious and you want to know. But I am encouraging you with every breath that I have to tell you that life has only been waiting on you to be ready. So these answers will flood your experience, and it's up to you how fast you take it in and how much you implement it into your life. You'll be challenged along the way. That is life's vetting process through challenges. It's basically saying, okay, so Joe, you want to be a new version of yourself. Okay, here you go. Now look at this challenge you just brought to yourself. Look at what somebody's going to do because of this new version that you brought to yourself, this new version that you're acting out of. Are you going to get mad and go to the old version? Or are you going to stay this new peaceful, focused, and clear person? Are you going to rise to the challenge when life says, what are you going to do now? Are you going to run from it? Or are you going to look up and say, give me everything you got because I'm not going anywhere. This is the new me. This is who I'm going to be no matter what. So give me every challenge you got. And I don't mean that in jest. I don't mean to take that lightly because I know people have been through a lot of challenges in their lives. But when you no longer run from them, when you face them and you say, I have faith no matter what, that I can overcome anything that is thrown my way, life sort of moves on and doesn't need to challenge you anymore. And it's almost as if the challenges or the vetting process dissolves because you've already demonstrated that that's who you are. So where I used to get upset or worried when certain things happened, now I have enough of an understanding to take a pause and say, okay, why is this happening to me? What's the purpose behind this? How can I take this on in a way that demonstrates the faith that I have in life and the faith that I am going to get to where I want to go in life, basically. So that's a great way to look at challenges in your life when they happen, if you're to go down this path and take on a new version of yourself. And then the last thing, and probably one of the most important things, is to be willing to see more of the beauty and the perfection of who you are. We are so used to looking at ourselves as imperfect and as not good enough. And again, what is so critical about this as it comes to understanding yourself is that the way that life connects to you is by what you believe is true about yourself. So that's why self-awareness is such a key part of this journey, because until you know deeply at the deepest level how you've thought about who you are, you can't change it. So being honest and saying, wow, I've really been hard on myself. I'm really critical of myself. I don't believe that I'm good enough. By even just acknowledging that, you can see why certain things have happened in your life. And then you can begin the process of change. But life, again, works very, very directly with your truth. So learning what you've believed to be true about yourself is going to be a key part of this journey, and being willing to change it. But once you do see more of the quote truth about yourself, that you are capable of anything, that there is infinite creative possibility for you, that you can overcome some of the things that you did not think you could in the past, that you can become a new version and get comfortable with it, that's when you start to take action on it. So again, I'm going to close today's podcast with the same quote that I started it with, which is, if you knew how powerful you really are, you would never stop smiling. I can't wait till our next episode. Thanks for being here today. And I look forward to speaking to you guys again really soon. Thanks. You can hit the subscribe button to be automatically notified of new episodes when they come out. And please share the podcast with others you think would enjoy it. More information about my books on personal empowerment or inquiries about private sessions or group coaching can be found at my websites, howardfalco.com or totalmindsports.com. You're also welcome to connect with me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Thanks again for listening, and remember that the one true guru of your life is always you. Until we see what you bring to yourself next time, be well.